Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Eaton in association with Dennis Hobson presents 4 3-minute rounds in the light heavyweight division. Introducing first in the red corner, wearing the black shorts with a silver stripe. Weighing in at 12 stone 8 pounds, this is his 102nd contest. From Middleton, Darryl Sharp. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white shorts. Weighing in at 12 stone 4 pounds, he is undefeated with a record of 2 wins, which both came by way of knockout. From Stockholm, Sweden, Adam BELALIA. Your timekeeper, Ashley McGill. Your referee, Mark Bates.
Seconds up, round 1.
Well, we're underway with a super middleweight fight. Looking forward to get a look at Adam BELALIA. He's got Darryl Sharp, and this undefeated fighter from Sweden, 2 fights, 2 wins, and 2 KOs. Does not hang about. Have you seen him before, Steve?
No, I think he's both professional fights earlier this year for BELALIA. Took part in Estonia. Obviously, it's his first fight in Britain. Had an extensive amateur career for Sweden, and he's up against a man tonight, though, who would be, if he got this fellow, Darryl Sharp, out the way in around it, it would be more than an achievement. It would be a statement of intent. A man who's very rarely stopped. 2 or I think 3 times he's been stopped. Real tough guy, and I saw Sharp, might have been last year, go the distance with Karol Itamar, who's a really serious prospect, and he took his whack that night and saw out the 4 rounds.
Well, Sharp got a smile across his face, or is that a smirk? But BELALIA, he's tried the odd overhand right. He looks like he's got some authority in that punch. Tries it again.
BELALIA was only 12 stone 4. He's a big man for that size, isn't he? He looks rangy, that sort of physique.
He's tall, he's rangy, got a good jab. I mean, he looks well schooled. And, he's not in any sort of rush. He's just trying to find the opening, soften and sharp up a little bit with that jab. Hands held a little bit too low for my liking.
So you talk about hands being low. How many fighters you see this day and where you think, hands being held low than what you'd like? You see it with so many of them, don't you? You
do, and I think it's a bad habit for me. It's a bad habit to get into. You see, great fighters like Iron Mike Tyson, as tough as they come, but hands right up, getting maximum protection. And I think, that's a lesson for everyone.
Sharp weren't too impressed then when he sort of ducked out the way and sort of showboat a little bit. It's not the sort of thing that goes down well with these journeymen.
Well, he's got the center of the ring, BELALIA, and he's getting the punches off first. But nothing so far that's gives Sharp any trouble.
Yeah. Sharp missing there with a wild swing, and then BELALIA doing the Billy Joe Saunders, his left hand to his forehead. I've seen a few copies.
Round 2.
So what would you want to see from, you're a pundit of the sport for many years. What are you looking for in a young up-and-coming fighter? What do you want to see?
In these sort of 4 rounds, just show a little bit of everything, that you can do. A little bit of patience as well. Don't go headhunting. Like, you see a lot of these guys like this are 2-0 with a couple first-round knockouts. And to BELALIA's credit, he's not. So often you see him headhunting.
Yeah.
They're just trying to take your head off with every punch. And that's when these guys see the fight through comfortably.
Absolutely.
It's the fighters that pick their shots that get the stoppages against journeymen. You know.
But when do you pick out something that's going to do? When they're in with a fight with journeyman, it's hard to tell, isn't it? It's hard to gauge. If you're outside the ring, you're watching boxing, you haven't seen a lot of it. How do you gauge how good this kid's going to be?
You're not really going to, in a fight against Daryl Sharp, unless you've seen him as the amateurs. You have to see him more than once. But you just look for him to do a bit of everything. We're seeing here, he's got a long right hand, seems quite, decent enough. There seems a bit of snap in it. Maybe a bit more authority with his jab.
Exactly. I mean, what I'm seeing is somebody's got a 2-0 record. He's certainly been patient. He's not rushing anything, is he? So he's not excitable.
No, and that's what you need to do. A good temperament. As we were saying earlier, too many of these guys go in to just take heads off.
Tries to double it up. The jab just falls a bit short, BELALIA.
But if you look at it already, you also get the impression that Sharp is happy just to see out the 4 rounds. The odd overhand rights coming in that we saw one earlier that's missing by a mile. He's in there Sharp, and he's feeling from while he might be up against a decent prospect here. Sharp, and his mind knows by not being too ambitious, and it's a fight he can get through comfortably.
Yep. Sharp having success with his jab, boxing out the southpaw stance. BELALIA just looking to control, not in a rush, got the center of the ring.
But he can perhaps not rush, hold the center of the ring because there's so little coming back. He's giving him nothing to think about.
Well, he's got a bit of a personality. He's talking to Sharp now. And that just manages to upset Sharp, who's starting to get a little bit rough in there, a little bit wild with the head.
A bit of a touch gloves. He's a real flashy fighter. Like at the end of the first round, his hands are in the air to the crowd at the end of each round. One thing BELALIA's not short of is confidence, Glenn.
Yeah, as I said, it is good. I mean, we've been around the whole careers of the Mayweathers, the Nazim Hameds, and but we've also been around a lot of fighters that's shown some confidence and ended up getting knocked out. So there's a lesson to be learned there. You got to be good. You got to be good to be a showman and pull it all off.
And it would be against fighters, of a lot more ambition than what Daryl's got at this stage of his career.
Seconds out, round 3.
Well, the Sharp straight out, looking to mean business, trying to rough BELALIA up in the 3rd round. BELALIA quick to get back in control behind that jab. Got a good jab, but as I've said, he throws that jab out nice and sharp, but brings it back to the waist. So, anybody who's going to face him, I'll just give you a little tip. Look for a right hand after that jab.
Yeah. And also, if you throw that jab, throw a bit more authority. You've got the long arms to put a bit more behind it.
If you're studying, obviously I've been around boxing a long time and many fighters, but you just watch. If a sharp opponent will look at BELALIA, they'll see every time he throws his jab, that left hand comes straight back to the waist. So what are you going to do? Step in with a big right hand? Falling short a little bit, missing with the jab.
Falling short twice there, 3 times, 4 times he's fallen short there with it.
BELALIA, he's winning these rounds comfortably enough, but I'd like to see him in a little bit more of a hurry, Steve.
Yeah, maybe he's too patient, too controlled.
He's also, he's building up a record, but you're there to entertain as well. And I think, you know, if you're going to build a fan base, you need to be and to produce the goods.
Daryl Sharp just teasing him. He's absolutely untroubled, isn't he, Sharp?
Yeah, he's strong. He knows the game. I mean, when you've had 101 fights, you know what you're doing in there to get through these fights without too much trouble. Well, he's content just to work away with that jab, building up the points. So the right hand goes in there. Nothing to trouble Sharp.
Yeah, and Sharp nodding his head there, then he flicked that right hand there. You're not going to hurt me, look on his face.
Is it Adam Belalia's intention to base himself in the UK from
I'm going to
now on,
ask him
Steve?
if he wins. I'm going to ask him afterwards. I just know he had his box for 10-0, and we see bits of promise, bits you criticise, and then 11-12 fight, you find out what they're all about.
Well, 2 fights, 2 wins, 2 KOs for Adam Belalia. Is he going to make it 3 out of 3?
Looking at it right now, if he lost this from here, it would be something that nobody would predict, not even Daryl Sharp. Daryl showed a little bit more ambition as we approach the final 2 minutes of this fight there.
Well, I think Daryl Sharp will be saying he's had a relatively easy night, hasn't he? I mean, he'll be happy with this, and we're going to see a little bit more action out of him in the last round.
He would have looked at this job first round. If you look how cagey was the first round circling, he wouldn't have looked at Belalia. He would have known he was up against the guy who knocked out his last 2 opponents. And in the first round, that's why you know he was so negative, wasn't he? Well, he's been negative throughout until about 30 seconds ago.
Still in no big rush. Adam Belalia tries a looping right hand, doesn't really get through.
Taken on the glove, didn't trouble Sharp at all. When you are comparing with when I saw him, it was at Wembley when Sharp got beaten at Wembley on points by Carol Itamar. I mean, Sharp was relieved to hear the final bell. He took a shelling in the 4th round, and there was arguments the referee could have stopped it. You know, you talk of prospects and how far this guy, Belalia, will be behind a Carol Itamar, and it's a long, long way. Yeah. And Itamar's only 6 fights into his career. So that's the sort of competition the guys you're making comparisons with.
Yeah. Well, he's got a bit of variety. You know, he's got a nice style, upright boxer. You know.
Rangy, long arms. You know, I can imagine it will be awkward to fight as his career progresses.
I mean, we haven't seen a great deal of urgency from him, but I think he's looked at the record of Daryl Sharp and he's got some respect for the big man. I think, to be honest, he's went in to this, and people have probably said, you know, you're going to be unlikely to get this man out of there early. So, you know, just enjoy yourself. Just, you know, just put your shots together, try and learn a thing or two, and that's exactly how his fight fought, isn't it?
As I say, there's nothing to worry about apart from a little 5-second spurt from Sharp at the start of this round. A very easy night for him, very easy win. And for Daryl Sharp, very comfortable. He's got through that fight easier than a lot of fights, and he'll be ready to go when the phone rings. I think he's got another. His next.
And gentlemen, after 4 rounds of action, we go to the referee scorecard. Mark Bates has it 40-36 in favor of your winner and still undefeated, Adam Belalia.